Boys, UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Albaz takes place this Saturday. And, I'm going to do some rare predictions, give you guys who I think's going to win on this entire card. And you already know your boy did hella research, so all of these are going to be locks. I'll parlay every single one that I tell you guys. You're going to make some bank. I'm just kidding. I'm speed running this shit because, to be honest, this card has the opportunity to be a really fun and good card, but I think it's going to fall short, and I think it's going to be a pretty mid fight card. But regardless, I'm doing this one off the cuff. I'm literally doing this right after I did my matchmaking fight for UFC 308, all the winners and a few losers. So let's start off with the opener on the women's flyweight division. Horth taking on Ivana Petrovic. Now, it's so sad going from a UFC 308 where the only women at UFC 308 employed by the UFC were the ring girls. Now, unfortunately, we got some more women in, fighting this weekend. It is what it is. Now, right now, Jamie, her last fight was a split decision to Veronica Hardy, who I think, is a really good fighter in this flyweight division. Honestly, has top 15 potential. So I think that split decision loss, not as bad as it seems like. And also, I think, she's more accurate. She has some power striking with it. Good pressure. Decently well-rounded. Nothing too good. Where Ivana, she's well-rounded, but definitely would rather wrestle. And I think Jamie's just way better on the feet. Where I think Jamie's, a little bit better on the feet. And like I said, the split decision versus Veronica Hardy, when we're at a fight like this that's so 50-50, I'm going to go with Jamie. And a good rule of thumb is, typically you pick the less attractive fighters because, time and time again, it just shows that they're better. Typically, you'll get the anomalies here and there, but I'm going Jamie, decision win. Let's go down. Bantamweight division, Chad Anheliger taking on Cody Gibson. Chad, has a good, powerful pressure game to him, and some good BJJ, decent takedown defense, but not anything great on the feet. Striking wise, not that great. Striking defense, not that great. At the end of the day, this is the battle of the unks. I've been saying it for a hot minute. It seems like every single fight card we get at least one battle of the unks. Both these guys are 37 years old. In that bantamweight division, that's like dinosaur age. Both of them past their prime. A good battle of the unks here. Cody Gibson, he's a good striker. He has a good solid jab to him, good technique. And out of the two guys, Gibson, in my opinion, has looked better than Chad in the last, let's say, 3 fights. I think Cody Gibson has looked better. Because of that, give me Gibson, decision win. Again, battle of the unks, I don't really care. So far, first few fights on this card, nothing. It's so hard going from UFC 308 where we had, honestly, a pretty stacked card there going into something like this, but it is what it is. Bantamweight division, Sidey, I think that's how you say that dude's name. I don't know what he's sorry for, but taking on Garrett Armfield. Now, Serhiy, he's a well-rounded fighter. He has a good jab. He has some pretty good power, good cardio. Like I said, pretty well-rounded. He can adjust mid-fight. He has some pretty good fight IQ where Garrett, on the other hand, he's a good Taekwondo fighter. He has a good combos, good power. The thing that's lacking is a takedown defense, where Serhiy, on the other hand, he has good takedown defense. He has good ground game. He's very well-rounded, and, it's, in my opinion, it's like a 50-50 fight on the feet. But Serhiy has that, ground game advantage. Obvious decision win for Serhiy. I just think he has more ways to win, and like I said, on the feet, pretty even. Mix that in with some takedowns. I think Serhiy's got this pretty easily. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 30-27, but I could see 29-28. Maybe he stays on the feet a little bit too long in the first round, doesn't mix things up out of pride. But second, third, regardless, I think he's getting a decision win. Very decision heavy on this card, but let's go down. Heavyweight division, probably one of the worst fights on this card. Both of them low-level, fat heavyweights, to be honest. We have women fighting on this card, and to be honest, this might be worse than those ones, because at least the women have some skill to them, where these fat heavyweights they're some of the lowest level heavyweights we have. But like I said, both low-level. Alexandr Romanov taking on Ricardo Nascimento. Now, Romanov, he's a big wrestler who wants to get his opponent down to do some ground and pound work here. No, not really a submission threat, more of a ground and pound guy. At least he's not just laying on him, but that's his path to victory. That's what he wants to do. On the feet, okay, but his main route, the main thing he wants to do, get Nascimento's ass on the ground and beat the shit out of him. That's what he wants to do. Where Rodriguez, he's a grappler with some aggressive striking. I think Rodrigo is just better everywhere. Maybe not so much with a ground and pound, but I think he's just better everywhere. At the end of the day, who cares? 2 fat heavyweights, 2 low-level heavyweights. Anything can happen. Freaking Alexandr could come out here and knock out Nascimento in the first round. I don't think that's happening. I think we're going to see a very boring, fat, low-level heavyweight decision from that Rodrigo Nascimento side. I think he's going to hold him up against the cage. I think it's just going to be boring. I don't really care. Let's move down. I don't want to stay on that one too long. Let's go down featherweight division. This one should be a really fun fight. Jack Shore taking on Youssef Zalal. Jack Shore, this guy was super hyped up, before he took his first loss, I think just over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. After that, he went 1-3, hasn't looked the greatest, in his past 3 fights, only winning one of them. Not the best look, but I think the record is a little bit deceiving because he's lost to some good guys, some really good guys in this division. And the competition, it's not like he's fighting bums. He's fighting some good high-level competition. He's a good grappler. He has good pressure. He can strike here and there, but definitely more of a wrestler than anyone else. The only thing is this boy's way too small for featherweight. Way too small. Where Youssef, on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, Youssef might be one of the most, underrated fighters in this featherweight division. He's like a dark horse in this featherweight division. He's very, very well-rounded. He can pick his shots well, but because he can pick his shots well, typically leads to not the highest amount of volume from Youssef, but he picks his shot well, looking for that best shot to land, good striking defense, very, very good fight IQ. Ground game, it's kind of a mystery at this point, but it is, from what I've seen so far, it's decent, but still a mystery. Youssef, in my opinion, miles better than Jack Shore on the feet. Currently on a 5-fight win streak, and all those 5 fights have been by finish. Yes, only 2 of them have been in the UFC because he was previously cut, but ever since he came back, those last 2 fights, he's on a tear. And, I think he's getting this one done over Jack Shore. It's sad to see because, like I said, Jack Shore was really hyped up. Lots of people around him hyping him up. I just think Youssef is better everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Youssef drop Jack Shore and actually get a rear naked choke as Jack Shore gets back to his feet. I wouldn't be surprised, and honestly, that's what I'm going for. Round 3, submission win. Youssef Zalal dropping Jack Shore, getting the back when he's trying to get back up. It's going to be like a flash knockdown. Let's go down bantamweight division. Charles Jourdain taking on Victor Henry. Surprised this isn't on the main card because Charles Jourdain is a very, honestly, probably one of the bigger names in the Canadian UFC scene right now because this is Canadian fight card. We're going into Edmonton, and yeah, pretty surprising he's not on the main card, but regardless, on a 2-fight losing streak. But it's again, same thing with Jack Shore. It's not like he's losing to bums. He's losing to some of the best fighters in bantamweight. So I don't take that 2-fight losing streak into much consideration. But I think he's going to be the faster fighter. He's always on the front foot. He has good grappling. He's fairly well-rounded. He's not super well-rounded. He's fairly well-rounded. He's not just a striker. He can be fairly dynamic too, but at the same time, the one thing that's holding Jourdain back, in my opinion, is this guy has some pretty bad low-level fight IQ that at certain points causes him to win. He'll go for something flashy here, and because of that, he'll get caught with something. So something to look out for. Where Victor Henry, he's a fast striker. He has very good striking defense. Very durable, but the only thing is, in my opinion, Victor Henry hasn't really beaten anyone that credible like Charles Jourdain has, and I just think Charles Jourdain is better everywhere than Victor Henry. The speed, I think about even. Charles Jourdain might be a little bit faster. I think the one thing that Victor Henry has is a striking defense and the durability. Those are the only things that he is better at than Charles Jourdain. I think Jourdain's going to win this one. Give me a decision win. I'm thinking 30-27, to be honest. Let's move down. Women's flyweight division. Arina da Silva. Just change her name. What was her name before? Arina Lipski? Yeah, it was Arina Lipski. Honestly, should have stick with Lipski because it's easier to say. But she's taking on Jamey Judaviscus. Now, Arina, she's pretty well-rounded, but it's not like she's good well-rounded. She's okay well-rounded, if that makes sense. The only thing is she is getting better and better from each fight, which is good to see. The only thing, this girl is still lacking some good, solid takedown defense. That's the biggest hole in her game where Jasmine, she is well-rounded. She's better than Arina well-roundedness, if that makes any sense, to be honest. I don't know if I'm making any sense because I still have, a constant loop of Max Holloway getting knocked out, and I don't know what to feel. I'm heartbroken, but we still got to move on. Jasmine, she has good pressure, good scrambles, good takedown defenses, good elbows on the ground, some nasty like splitting open elbows. You know, if she gets Arena down, I could see her slicing open Arena. I'm going to go with a decision win because it's women's MMA. And once again, when you're 50-50 on certain things, or typically in just women's fight in general, you go with the less attractive one. So Jasmine, decision win, write it down. Let's go down. Bantamweight division, the main event in these prelims, I believe. Ayman Sahabi taking on Pedro Munoz. Now, Pedro Munoz, one of the staples in this bantamweight division, you know, has a really good pace to him for this bantamweight division. Probably his best thing in his arsenal is his pace, but I don't know how to break it to you guys. This guy's 38 years old, you know. Hasn't looked the best as of recently, you know. The thing you can say is his losses have been very competitive. He hasn't really been blown out of the waters in any fight that I can think of at the top of my head, but, you know, either way, he's starting to slow down as time goes on. You can see it pretty clearly. 38 years old in bantamweight. That's dinosaur age. This guy's well past his prime. Zahibi, he's also a very well-rounded fighter, but low volume, which is concerning. He's coming off a Javid Basharat win, so you know, I don't want to say this is easy money, but I think Pedro Munoz is going downhill, and I think it's gonna happen fast, especially in the bantamweight division, when bantamweight is one of the best divisions in the UFC. And when you're at the highest level where Pedro Munoz is, it doesn't take many years for you to fall off fast. 38 years old at bantamweight. I think Zahibi's getting this done. I don't think he's gonna finish Munoz. Munoz has shown he's incredibly hard to finish, but I don't see Munoz having much success. I'll give Munoz one round, you know, some crafty vet move to win a round, but 29-28, Zahibi win. Let's keep moving down. Main card now, welterweight division, Mike Malott taking on Trevin Giles. Mike Malott coming off that terrible fraud check from Magny. Literally just crumbled and gave up. He was beating Magny up, and then he's like, here, Magny, I don't want to win. Take this shit from me. You know, Canadian's just way too nice that way, but crumbled, gave up. This boy, I don't know what to say. He's well-rounded. He's not good at anything, but he's well-rounded, you know. He's okay at everything. He has no 5-round cardio, as we saw with a Magny fight. No dog in him. If he has any dog, it's a freaking Chihuahua or something. Whatever's like the most unintimidating thing that Canadians have, that's what Mike Malott has inside him. He doesn't have like a pit bull inside him or anything. Just whatever is the least intimidating, you know, national Canadian animal is what Mike Malott has in his heart. But Trevin Giles, good striker, good footwork. He uses his range really well, which I think is going to cause some problems for Mike Malott. He has a good, strong jab, good takedown defense, and he has some pretty good experience. I think he has more experience than Mike Malott, but at the end of the day, Mike Malott is fighting in Canada, and I think a lot of, especially these main card fighters, I think they're going to get some sort of like extra boost, some like superpowers fighting in front of their home crowd. I'm seeing a Mike Malott round 1 KO. I'm not very impressed with Trevin Giles, and you know, I think Mike Malott is going to knock him out. And if Mike Malott loses, I don't think I'll ever pick him for anything ever again. But he was a pretty high up prospect ever since he got fraud checked by Neil Magny. But Neil Magny and Trevin Giles, two completely different guys. So give me Mike Malott getting a good bounce back win, KO win. Trust me, the UFC want this. This shit is scripted. So giving Mike Malott round 1 KO, go down middleweight division. Marc-Andre Barriault taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Now, Marc-Andre Barriault, he's a good striker, but I don't know what it is about him. He loves to make some nice textbook clean striking. He likes to turn that shit hella ugly and just start winging for the fences. He likes to make it an ugly fight. He's an ugly striker. He has good cardio, good pressure. The pressure is what like melts a lot of people. He's coming out of his prime though. Unfortunately, he's a little bit older. And again, I think he's going to get some extra fuel when he's fighting in front of the Canadian hometown. Dustin, on the other hand, he's a good grappler. Decent striking, but definitely would rather grapple than strike. And this boy's probably, there's a handful of them, but he's one of the more inconsistent fighters in the middleweight division. Because of that, because of the extra fuel, you know, because of the hometown advantage, Marc-Andre Barriault, first round KO. I'm sensing something in the air, especially for that main event. Let's go down to the light heavyweight division. Caio Machado taking on Brendson Ribeiro. Now, Machado, he's a decent striker with good footwork, a decent jab here. He has really good clinch work though. That's probably one of his best aspects in his game. He can throw his shots a little bit sloppy here, and you know, the cardio cardio's pretty ass too. But Ribeiro, he's a very, very offensive striker. He likes to be on the front foot 24/7. He wants to go out there, get that KO right away. He wants to be in there in the first round, knock you out, and get his ass home. But at the end of the day, when he fights like that, he has some pretty bad striking defense, and it has shown this boy is a little bit of a quitter if things get a little bit too hard. Now, Machado lost to Dontel Mays. I'm never picking Machado to beat nobody ever again. Give me Ribeiro by a KO win. Breaking the Canadian KO streak. Give me Ribeiro KO win. I just can't pick anyone who lost to Dontel Mays. I just can't do it. Let's go down. Heavyweight division. Derrick Lewis, Jhonata, Diniz. Now, do I need to break down Derrick Lewis? We all know Derrick Lewis. Now, Diniz, he's well-rounded for a heavyweight. He's going to be way faster than Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis compared to Diniz, Diniz is going to look like a flyweight compared to Lewis, but he's going to be the faster guy. But the thing is, he hasn't beaten anyone good in heavyweight. He's just been fighting like bad, fat heavyweights, to be honest. This is the first real test for Diniz, and I think you need to be, fairly athletic looking if you want me to pick you to beat Derrick Lewis, because Derrick Lewis has the power to put out your lights any time of the fight. You can be losing every single minute of every single round. It just takes one shot. So give me Derrick KO win. I'll say second round KO win, but you need to do something. You need to be looking a certain way. You need to be finishing people a certain way for me to pick you over Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis, one of the best gatekeepers we've ever had in the UFC. Let's go down flyweight division. Eric Blanchfield. I almost died there. Eric Blanchfield taking on Namajunas. I don't know what just happened, but I think reading Blanchfield's name made me remember how retarded she looked in her last fight. She's coming off that terrible fight against Horth, where, again, 0 IQ, just kept walking forward into her jabs all night. Literally one of the worst performances I've ever seen. So it's tough to pick her. She is a tough girl. Again, walking forward for 5 rounds, every single minute of that round, just getting your face jabbed off every single round. It's very tough to do, but you may be tough, but you're also really retarded to do so. She has good cardio, good pressure. She wants to get a takedown. She's strong with her takedowns. If she can't get her takedowns, though. We saw what happened in her last fight, where Namajunas is probably one of the best and one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. Very technical, but I've noticed I don't know what it is, but as of recently I've noticed, she hasn't looked the same. She doesn't have the killer instinct anymore. It's almost like she's lost her killer instinct, but she looks good / okay. She doesn't look like the champion she used to be, if that makes sense. She still looks good / okay, but she doesn't look how she used to look years ago with that killer instinct. With that being said, if it's an even looking fight, if you don't know who's going to win, go with the less attractive woman. Give me Namajunas by a decision win. I think she's going to get it done over Blanchfield, just because also, my theory so far is undefeated, undisputed. Also, it also has to do with her fight IQ. Erin Blanchfield is retarded. Let's go down. The main event, flyweight division, Brandon Moreno taking on Albaz. I am very excited for this fight. I'm not going to lie. Brandon Moreno, probably my favorite flyweight fighter. Probably a lot of people's favorite flyweight fighter. Very well-rounded, can pretty much do it all. Good cardio. The thing is, people are like, oh, he's past his prime. He's done. He doesn't care anymore. There's no more motivation. No, I don't think that is. But first, let's go into the Albaz side. He's a high-pace grappler with okay striking, but definitely trying to get that shit to the ground. He's not trying to be on the feet with Moreno. And, the thing is with, Albaz is this boy hasn't fought in a year. I don't know why I did that, but this boy hasn't fought in a year. He's coming off an injury, hasn't fought in over a year. And in my opinion, Mr. Albaz here, the Albaz man himself, Albaz, he's a little bit of an overrated fighter. My opinion, don't fucking crucify me, but I think he's a little bit overrated. Now, people say Moreno has no more motivation. He doesn't care anymore. He's done it all. I think he came back way too fast over Royval. I think, yes, at that time against Royval, he wasn't super motivated. He's coming off a split decision over a guy he's lost like 3 times to, and he lost a belt to that guy. So motivation, future of what he wants to do, probably a little bit clouded. And after that Royval fight, also that shit was in altitude where he fought Royval. I think that has maybe a little bit to do with it. He still lost, but he lost split decision. It wasn't like he got masterclass out there. But I think this boy, I think he was gonna retire if he didn't want to keep going. He took some time off. He wanted to think about what he wanted to do. he came back and he realized he wants to run this shit again. Moreno is coming out there for blood. You know, at first I'm thinking, yo, Moreno's coming in out here. He's going to get a decision. No. Moreno is, he's going to be stupidly motivated. Trust, mark my words. We're gonna see a new mythical fighter, Brandon Moreno. And this shit's all, you know, recorded ahead of time. Well, maybe we'll see in some interviews here and there, we'll see a super motivated Brandon Moreno. And that's what I think is gonna happen. I think Moreno is very well rounded, very motivated coming back into this. I think he's gonna want to try to get his belt back. I think he stops Albaz. Albaz's pretty shit on the feet, I'm not gonna lie. And I think Brandon Moreno has the grappling, has the wrestling to stuff a lot of Albaz's attempts to take it to the ground. If he does get Moreno to the ground, I don't think Moreno's staying there. I think he's jumping back up, he's scrambling. I think he's beating the shit out of Albaz on the feet until it'll eventually lead to a TKO. And yeah, those are my opinion. I'll say fourth round TKO Brandon Moreno. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a very fun matchup. Again, this card has the potential to be very fun and exciting, but I think certain fights are just gonna make it fall flat. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of these? What do you guys think of these rare predictions? And yeah, who do you guys have in the main event and co-main event? All that being said, quickly look at this shit real quick. 99% of you guys watch this shit for free. Your boy is on that goal to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys have not yet, what the fuck are you doing? You watched to the end of the video, so you might as well just leave a like on this video and subscribe with those post notifications turned on so you never miss any of these rare videos. And yeah, boys, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.